Today we are going to be locking in on goals, on situations that we want to be in within the next 90 days. In this video, we're going to be focusing on many things, but the main focuses are going to be goal setting, daily habits, and self-care that's going to elevate your everyday experiences, aka your daily life. We're definitely going to be going pretty deep in this video. Don't worry, it won't be overstimulating or overwhelming with the information. This is definitely going to be a straightforward guide because on this channel we love bringing a touch of elegance into our everyday life, but we like to do that by being effortless and simple in our approach. Practical, straight to the point tips that actually work. So changing your life within 90 days can be very transformative. It seems like it's a pretty short amount of time to completely transform your life, but just think about how many things you do daily and how many habits you do daily that add up to a big thing in your life. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. These tips are going to help you to reemerge and be transformed by the time springtime gets here. So that's like the goal. You can do this anytime during the winter time. First tip is going to be to define your goals and your intentions for this entire 90-day process. This is going to be the part where you reflect, figure out where you want to set your goals, why you are even wanting to get to from point A to point B, and how this is going to affect your overall life. For example, if you have a goal to lose 30 pounds within a certain amount of time, why are you setting that goal? How is that goal gonna help you? I feel like that this is super important so that you're not just unintentionally doing stuff and it just nothing sticks and nothing makes sense. When you have an intention behind the things that you're doing, it makes it a stronger goal and it also makes it more likely to come true. So we're gonna start with that, setting a goal and setting the intention behind that goal. Once you have your goals together, kind of figured out why you're doing this in the first place, and you have your intention together, you're now gonna create a plan that's going to support that goal and also have that intention in mind so that it can be the driving force behind continuing on with this plan and staying committed to this plan. I suggest that you break things down into sections, because if you just do an overall plan and you don't really break down things to more of a daily practical step-by-step guide for yourself, it can get overwhelming and also you can lose yourself in the process. You can avoid this by making sure that you break things down into smaller steps. For example, if you have a goal to eat healthier within this 90-day process, you're going to write down meals, or you're going to pretty much get together maybe even like a Pinterest board of meals that you can do every single day. You're going to write down a segment within this goal that says do weekly meal planning so that you can stick to the overall goal of eating healthier. Versus if you just put eating healthier for the 90 days, you won't really know where to start. So have a plan on how to tackle these goals and break them down. Also, when you have that plan together, make sure that you have some type of tracking system together as well. I personally don't like to have a written down tracking system because I feel like that I get way too hyperfixed on the progress. As you have your way that you're going to track your progress, you now want to cultivate positive habits so that when you do make this plan, you're able to stay consistent with it. Your habits are going to be a huge part of this because your habits are what's going to make up your life. Many different ways of doing this, but I like to start with your morning routine, nighttime routines. Routines are going to be the biggest part of this because routines are something that you're going to be doing over and over and over. So if you can get a good morning routine or nighttime routine together, that is definitely going to help you when it comes to your goals, because you're going to be taking care of yourself. You're going to be focused on yourself and making sure that you are properly, in alignment. And if you take a look at your daily habits and your habits in general and you find that they're not the best thing to do is to start writing down habits that you can replace your kind of like negative habits with. So if you need to exercise more, you definitely want to put that as a daily routine or a 3 times a week routine within your goals. Or if you want to be more mindful of the way that you're thinking, you definitely want to get into alignment with writing down affirmations or saying like little prayers throughout the day. Those are gonna be like little routines that you're going to do so that you can stay motivated. I definitely recommend staying in tune with a healthy diet. That is one of my #1 things that I always would put in any guide. A lot of things that you eat during the day, believe it or not, they have a huge impact on the way that you feel. They have a huge impact on your mood. And if your mood is not up to par and you're just down and you're like eating horrible and just not really taking care of yourself, then you're definitely not going to be able to have the motivation to keep going. You can use the example that I just told you guys where you do meal plans every week. I absolutely love doing this, like making sure that when I go to the grocery store, I have a plan in place, because it's going to really help you. It's going to help your mood. It's just going to be an overall win for you and your body if you're taking care of it in that way. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about taking care of yourself within this 90-day period so that you can reemerge transformed. And I know you're like, why is she focusing so much on self-care and on the self? Let's get to something else. But trust me, this is a huge part of how you're going to transform yourself. Going into the next tip, which is going to be maximizing your self-care during this period. Now, self-care is going to look different for everyone. I know that a lot of times people make it seem like self-care is like face masks, products. That is a part of it, and it can be a part of it, but the best self-care is going to be something that improves you, adds to you, puts you in a better mindset, and that totally can look different for many different people. Some people feel that self-care and they feel better when they go out in nature. They're like hiking. That's a form of self-care for some people, where other people feel like that self-care is better when they're like in quiet spaces, writing, journaling, reading books. I don't know what it's going to be for you. I just say to find that self-care practice that's going to be really good for you, because when you focus on the self, as I've been saying during this entire video, you are gonna be way more equipped to get into this transformative energy and this transformative mindset. Also, if you have absolutely no idea where to start when it comes to self-care, I have a self-care guide on my website that is like a beginner self-care guide. So I'll have that down in the description box if you want a straight to the point guide that you can follow. So make sure that you're getting a lot of sleep. I used to like put sleep on the very bottom of my list, and I did not realize that it was actually hurting me in the end. Rest is going to be a very big part of the progress. So during this winter arc, it's going to always be about learning and growing throughout your journey. So if you are going to be in this mindset of I want to transform my life, I want to, have a better life, you have to be open to learning and you have to be open to growing. So this can definitely be another thing that can look different for many different people. If you have a certain goal or a certain lifestyle that you want to cultivate, a lot of times the best way to get into that lifestyle or that mindset is to research and maybe even following people who inspire you. Either way it goes, find something that's going to nourish your mind and help you to get into the growth mindset, because you're gonna need it when you're trying to transform your lifestyle. It is so good to get into like workshop classes, to go to online courses. Those are so amazing to do if you're trying to learn a new skill. I remember when I wanted to get into pottery, like I went to a pottery class all by myself. I didn't have anyone else to go with. I just had to go myself, and it was really a good experience. I mean, I didn't really like going by myself, but sometimes you're gonna have to do things alone and kind of like explore, put yourself out there just so that you can go after skills and activities that you want to do. And I ended up having a lot of fun, and there were also other people at that class that was there completely by themselves. Speaking of that, when you are in this winter arc and you're trying to develop and transform your life, make sure that you have supportive people around you. And this is a really big one, because a lot of times people and things that don't support where you're trying to go can really put a damper on where you're trying to go. It can make you feel as though you're not in the right space, or you're not doing the right thing, or what you're doing is weird. Like there's so many different feelings that you can get from being around people who are not supportive of you. You will come out so much more transformed if you eliminate things around you, people, places that do not support where you're trying to go. Even if you don't have supportive people around you, you can have yourself as a support system. I know that sounds really crazy, but trust me, sometimes you are going to be your biggest fan. So having yourself as a support system, you, God, and your comfortable, peaceful space is going to be all you're going to need if at the moment you don't have supportive people around you, because at the end of this 90-day transformation, you definitely will start to attract those supportive people who are going to be on the same journey as you, or going to be very supportive of your journey. Just stay focused, and you might have some times where it's not going to be as amazing. You're going to thank yourself so much that you stay committed. If you want, also you can hire like mentors, like a therapist. There's different people that you can hire to help you during the process if you absolutely need a support system. Just being your own best friend so that you can get where you're trying to go. Don't let anyone step into front of a goal that you're trying to get to. Kind of goes into my next tip, which is to get into activities and go out and meet new people. This is going to be very important in this process, because as you go on this journey and you're starting to transform yourself and get into new habits and new ways of doing things, there's a lot of times where you do want to have, you know, people who are on the same journey as you, and you do want to build that community around you. So you can do that by going into new spaces, going into new communities that seem supportive of your overall goal. So with social media and the internet, it's very easy to find people who are on the same journey as you, or at least on the same path as you, or you can find people that you inspire to be like. Okay, so this is my little tip that I wanted to put in here as well, because I just feel like that this just adds to your life overall, and that is adding beauty to your life during this period. Because a lot of times, like, I see these guys and they make it seem like, oh, you gotta stay focused, and it just takes the fun out of everything. So I think that adding beauty to your surroundings is gonna be important during this time. I know that's such a weird tip, but trust me, like, beauty adds to your mood. Things like flowers around you, if you wanted to go get you some flowers for the day, making sure that your space is clean. You can even create an entire new wardrobe and style for yourself. It can help with your confidence. So many things that it can help on the inner. I love beauty, I love art. I like to have beautiful things around me, and it makes me feel better. So if you're that type of person as well, then make sure during this time that you focus on that. Now that you have like kind of like the core tips of this guide, the next tip is going to be to reflect and adjust as you go. If you're doing one of these tips and within this guide, and by I say week 3 you feel like that this tip doesn't really work for you or needs to be adjusted, it is completely fine to readjust your goals and also readjust the steps that you're taking. I feel like that we're ever changing, we're always going through changes, so there are going to be times where we go back and look at certain things that we're doing and we think, okay, that doesn't really work, or actually I don't want this particular thing to pan out this way, I actually want it to pan out this way. So be completely okay with readjusting your goals and readjusting the steps that you're taking if something is not working. If it is working, you can also add it to different steps. So if like making a weekly plan for your eating routine is really working for you, maybe you can take that same tip and put it down to making a weekly self-care routine, because it works so well for your healthy eating routine. You see what I mean? You can just like change things out, switch them around. Also, it makes it a lot more fun, which brings me to my next step that I wanted to put in this video, and that is to embrace the challenges. There will be challenges. That is not ever going to go away. When you're creating your plans and your goals, make room for challenges. Like, there's going to be times where things don't work out as good as you thought they were, or they don't go as fast as you thought they were. You definitely are going to be frustrated. This is where those prior steps come into play: journaling, or working on mindset, or just simply letting those challenges and those times where you don't feel the best pass. So look at it as something that you're going to eventually get through. Consistency is going to be big, because even on the days where it's very much challenging or you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, if you're persisting and you're staying consistent, then you will eventually get somewhere. Stay consistent. I promise you, if you stay consistent for this entire 90-day process, you will be thanking yourself in the end. Speaking of thanking yourself in the end, celebrate your milestones. So even if no one else around you is celebrating, still take that time out to tell yourself that this was important. This was something that was super hard for you, and finally, you got to point B. Take yourself out and celebrate yourself and be okay with that. It's not cocky, it's not narcissistic for you to realize that you are doing amazing and that you did this all by yourself and you finally got to this certain goal. I feel like this video was super long. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but with these tips, you definitely by the end of this 90 days will be transformed. Definitely you're going to feel amazing when you realize that you're coming out a completely different person. This is perfect for the year 2025 as we go into the new year. I personally like to be setting goals and getting to different milestones and different places that I wanted to get to, especially if your 2024 wasn't the best and you feel like that you didn't really get to the goals that you wanted to get to in 2024. Here's a whole new year to reach those goals. Really hope that you guys end up reaching your goals and end up coming out transformed. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up so that I can know to create more videos just like this. Yeah, you guys can comment down below any goals that you have for 2025. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this new channel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.